Hey y'all, it's Indigo here, coming at you with round one of week 3 of the Grand Arena Championships. Let me show you how my battles and everything went. This is the board we got right here. He's set up top, he's got Darth Revan and First Order, and you can see down south he's got a Bastilla Jedi team, and he's got some Kira Scoundrels. That's just to show you what his team looks like. He's got full Gear 13, Darth Revan, well, with Sith Trooper in there, and just a crew First Order team. And then down south, he's got his Kira, got Scoundrels there, but there's no Nest there to worry about. So that's pretty good. It's like a Old Republic Scoundrel hybrid team, and there's no L3 to worry about. So let's go ahead and start diving into it. We're going to start up top. I'm excited to start with his Darth Revan squad because I've been working on that General Grievous Suicide Droids counter. So let's get into it and I'll show you how things went down. Alright, so here's my droids team. I got IG-88. He's only Gear 11. And then I think everybody else is Gear 12 with Gear 13 Grievous. I do have the Zeta on my IPD, so that definitely helps this team. I don't have it 100% dialed in the way I want it yet, and I'd love to have, some more gear and another Zeta on T3. But for now, I've been testing it in Arena. It's working pretty well. I'm pretty pleased with it, as opposed to not having a working Darth Revan counter at all, because I can't ever seem to get the Padme team dialed in, and that one can go to hell real quick. This one, at least, I don't know, it seems like you can do some serious damage as long as you don't just get a super OP Darth Revan, Darth Revan squad. Right here, I'm stuck behind Taunt on Sith Trooper, which sucks because you really want to try and take out anyone else you can. If you can take out, Malak, it's good to do that. But right there, AoE, I was able to kind of clean the board. Unfortunately, I lost T3 and my IPD, so I couldn't blow them up. Once you lose T3, you lose all that extra bonus damage, so you don't have the power to just, knock out Malak. So got it down to just a lone Malak, but I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, a lot of Padme teams, that's what you pray for, is just like, let me get it down to Malak only, please, and I can go clean it up with something else. So I just wiped his board except for that Malak, and all I used was some spare droids and my Grievous. So I'm happy with that. I still have Padme for later. So let's go ahead and take out that First Order squad while I think about what I'm going to use to clean up. I decided to go ahead and take in my Imp Troopers because look at his First Order squad. He left himself vulnerable because he doesn't have Stormtrooper in there for an extra taunt, and he's a tankier character. He put in that pilot, and since he did that, that's one more squishy character that you can get with the AoE from Snowtrooper. And my Snowtrooper's set up to do an awful lot of damage. So I can do plenty of damage with this squad, and I knew I was going to get some quick kills. And as long as you do that and you can outspeed his team, easy to take him down with imps and get yourself 60 banners. So there we go. Knock down his First Order. 60 banners for me. Good enough. I'll take it. So one thing I forgot to mention in the beginning, if you look at the scores, you can see that he only has 630 points. And that 630 is because he forgot to set a squad on defense. Now he's got 2 squads in each zone up front, so that means one of his back zones is light. So that's a 90-point difference, 90 points that he doesn't get that I start out ahead. So it's just important to note that because I'm going to show you kind of how that comes into play a little bit later. For now, though, let's jump back into this footage. You can see I took in my First Order team against his Malak. First Order is a really good counter to a lone Malak if you have them to spare. Because of Crew's 2-turn irresistible stun, you can keep Malak kind of locked down. Even though Xylo can stun, Malak can get pretty tenacious towards the end and not get stunned. He'll resist it all. So as long as you have crew, is irresistible, so you can keep him stun locked for a couple turns while you whittle away his health and while Executioner gets charged up. And the fact that Xylo can do his AoE to help with the turn meter is that much better, because you're going to lose some turns to fear. Every time you do like a critical hit, you'll see Executioner constantly get feared or Xylo get feared, and you end up losing, some turns. So you got to keep that turn meter flowing to kind of get everybody back up and moving again. Otherwise, it can take a good few minutes to run this Malak down. He is probably one of the best tanks in the game, except right now you're kind of limited to running him with Darth Revan if you want that squad to stand a chance. But if you did have him plug and play, I mean, he's a pretty stout tank on his own. So was able to take him out. Not perfect banners, but 39 banners for the second time around. Pretty happy with that. Like I mentioned a minute ago, my opponent started with a banner deficit of 90 banners, so I've got some wiggle room to work with. And we unlock the back zone and see that he left some Ewoks back there for me, and that's the zone that's light. He only set the one squad on defense back there. So that means he's got whatever he's got in the bottom there, his Jedi and his Scoundrels, and then whatever he's got behind them, there's 2 squads back there waiting for me that I can't see. So let's jump into his Scoundrel team. To combat those, I had some good choices. I got a lot of firepower left, and I was asking some friends of mine, what's the most efficient team I can try out to use? Because I could have taken CLS or something, and since it was Scoundrels, I went to my buddy Clash, who runs the Scoundrels server, and explained to him how the team was and all that, and he's like, oh, that guy doesn't know what he's doing. His Chewie is modded wrong, and you should be able to tear through them with Padme, and you'll get pretty good banners. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I've never used Padme on them. As you can see, they just rip right through them, no problem at all. So 59 banners for that matchup. Thanks, Clash. Now we'll move on to the next one. He's got his Bastilla Jedi team. The reason people like to put this team is the fact that they start with the extra protection and tenacity. So it makes them pretty resistant to initial debuffs like daze or stun. And if they can do some damage to you and whittle your team down while they already have that extra protection, even if they don't gain a hold, they've at least taken off your protection or health banners. They're a pretty tanky team. Sometimes you can stick them in the back and your opponent will be out of his really good teams and have no answer to take her down. Because every battle you start against this Jedi team, they restart with that extra protection. And so it makes them really, really tanky to get rid of as you start running lower and lower on squads. But CLS doesn't really have a problem. You can see I chose to take CLS, Chewie, Han, and then just Chirrut and Baze. Brought Chirrut, make sure I can get some heals, and the fact that him and Baze have synergy, and I wasn't going to use them with anyone else. And I wanted to save my R2 and C3PO, depending on if my opponent set his Genosians in the back, for my resistance team. So I wanted to keep my options open. And so it seemed good to bring those. And so far, so good. You can see they do enough damage to just kind of rip through these Jedi. I did Gear 13 my Chewie right before lock. I want to Gear 13 my Han and eventually CLS too. Just because those 3 really can take care of a lot of business. You want them to be able to have max firepower. So, and Chewie, with the fact that he assists every time Han and someone else, does their attacks and such, you want him to hit hard. He doesn't necessarily need to be too fast, but you want him hitting as hard as he can since he's going to assist all the time. So that's what I got him doing. I think he's up over 5,000 damage or something like that. So nice, good, hard hits, and he can get the job done. You can see I make short work kind of this team got Chirrut to keep everybody healthy, and was able to pick up 59 banners right there. That's pretty good in my book. Trying to be as efficient as possible in case my opponent kept a lot for offense. And so we'll open up his back zone right here, and I'll show you what he's got. He's got some Nightsisters down there, and then he's got a Jango Bounty Hunter team down there. So he really did keep a lot for offense. He mainly just set his Darth Revan as the main difficult team to beat, and then kept a lot to deal with whatever I had set down. Alright, right here, he's got his Nightsisters. I like to use Padme for Nightsisters, but I went ahead and used Padme on the other team, the Scoundrels there. So I have my Traya team left. They can do pretty good, but you end up losing at least 5 banners, sometimes 10, just depending on how the run goes. Nightsisters are getting pretty tricky. And he had one of his, I think it was a SWGOH Gear 13, so I was worried about how hard she might start hitting. One thing I did, though, besides bringing in the regular Triumvirate, is take in Thrawn and take in Wampa. I figured Wampa could hit pretty hard, and maybe he can take out some Nightsisters, and his AoE would be able to reach over there to Acolyte, maybe, you know, kill her just by doing an AoE after he powers up. So any way that I can get kills, I wanted some max damage, and he's got good counterattacks. And then with Thrawn being able to throw his turn meter and use Fracture, I figured that would help kind of get around zombie taunt some of the time. So you can see I'm just, you know, going at it. Got my trio in there. I'm already doing quick work. I isolated Daka and then killed her. And if you kill them while they're isolated, then they're not going to come back. I mean, they'll come back due to a SWGOH lead where they come back and then die off again. But Zombie's not going to die for them to keep them around. So that's a little trick you might consider if you have, say, Thrawn and could fracture Zombie. That leaves your isolate free to put on somebody and take them out. So right now I'm just working the team down. I got Talzin left. I got Acolyte left. And then just Zombie to worry about. He's got his taunt. Only thing that I don't like is, look, they're going after Thrawn there. So he's kind of hanging on by a little thread of life. And you got to watch out. There's no real way to heal him. He is Gear 13 though. So I hope that helps, you know. Helps him with a little bit of survivability. And right now I'm just using him to throw turn meter around. Got all the rest of the Nightsisters out. Now I just got Zombie, and Thrawn managed to stay alive. So 55 banners there. Good enough. Now for a really fun matchup. I had my Darth Revan team left. I didn't need to use it because my counter worked really well against his. So I hope you guys can all enjoy Darth Revan. I did 4-man. I left HK at home. And he's about to shred Jango and friends. So this is what it looks like when your Darth Revan is left over and you can bring him to go play with the bounty hunters. Look at that. Just there's nothing they can do. They're all knocking at death's door, and they don't even get to do anything. Now he's got Dengar over there, and he lasts 1 hit. So 61 banners for me. I went light just to try and pick up an extra banner because you ain't gonna need all 5 Sith Empire to kill a Jango squad. Come on. So now all that's left is his Ewoks, and I've got plenty of firepower left for that team. So the one thing I wanted to do was, you know, try and be as efficient as I can. Since my opponent kept so much firepower, I wanted to make sure that I could, you know, stay ahead of the game. And so I took in my Bastilla Jedi team, Hermit Yoda, Old Ben, Ezra. And I'm going to leave that last spot blank because you don't really need a 5th. When you've got Bastilla lead, as I mentioned before, all that extra protection and the extra tenacity, they're not going to be able to land daze and ability block or stun or anything like that. And you just don't have to worry about it. You can go after Elder straight away. And Ezra with his double taps, you're able to just take Elder out of the game and start focusing on whoever you want next. I'm going after Wicket just because he's the most damage dealer. Got rid of him. You got 3 left, and look at the counterattacks from Ezra. Just boom, boom. Knocking them out. I got 2 of them almost dead right there. And so it's really easy. Probably could have even left old Ben at home and just taken in Bastilla lead with Hermit Yoda and Ezra and done just fine. But I'm not going to push it. I mean, being kind of efficient, picking up an extra banner seems good enough. I shouldn't really need an extra 2 banners. I don't want to push my luck that far. So there it goes. There's his Ewoks. 61 banners for those. And I did want to show you guys something else that I noticed while I was going back through my footage for this video. Look at how many points I gained right there, okay? I gained 61 points for beating his Ewoks, and then he didn't set that other squad in back. So what they give you now, it was a recent update, they give you the points you would have gotten if you beat it perfectly. So 61 banners plus 64 banners for a perfect win for the squad that wasn't there. And then your 180 banners for the clear bonus, that's the 305. So if you ever come up against an opponent that leaves you an empty slot, you're going to get a 64 banner win for it once you clear off that other squad. So it's a little piece of information I thought I should mention since I happen to come across it. So here's my board. I got 1898 and he hadn't gone yet. He got 630 for setting his defense. But when I woke up this morning, he did go. I was thankful he at least tried and, didn't realize his mistake and just not do anything. So you can see there was no way to catch up. He 2-shotted one of my squads, the same as I did to his Darth Revan squad, and then 1-shotted everything else. But he just wasn't as efficient, and that 90 banner deficit, he couldn't overcome that. So there was no way he could come close to me. So that's it. That's it for my round 1 matchup, and we'll see you guys in the next round. Shout out to my buddy Mikayas. He runs a modding service. He'll go through, make sure you got the right squad compositions and the right mods on the right characters. Give your account a real nice tune-up. I'll put the link to his Discord in my description. Go ahead and check him out. Tell him Indigo sent you. Thanks for watching my video, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, share your comments down below, and hopefully you'll check out my other videos on my channel. Peace.